This afternoon we're going to give you a guided tour of the gardens here at Blickling Hall. There's the hall in the distance, and this year they're bringing people into the garden through what was the old walled garden and orchards at the side of the Buckinghamshire Arms on the Blickling Road. There's the Buck just on the other side of the wall, and this beautiful orchard which hasn't been mown this year with beautiful old apple trees in, and we're going in through this aspect into the main walled garden. First thing we spotted is this absolutely fantastic mature walnut tree. It looks like it's going to have an absolutely bumper crop this year. Must have been in not too big a tree, maybe 40 or 50 years in this position. It's really well established and going to fruit incredibly well. I always love looking around some of the older buildings. This one probably dates from only around the 1940s or 50s. No longer in use, hasn't been restored yet, but old support buildings for what once was the big walled garden here. And we're going to go through in a minute into the restored part of the walled garden and give you a tour around that. So here we are entering the restored part of the walled gardens, and these were restored by the National Trust over the last 4 or 5 years. This year they've not been planted fully because the National Trust, like everyone else, has had restrictions on access due to COVID-19, and a lot of its volunteer gardening force that tend to support the full-time gardeners in the planting and maintenance of these walled gardens have been absent this year. They obviously managed to get their dahlias bedded in at the beginning of the season. Just look at this display along the base of this 15 or 20 foot wall. Some absolutely lovely, very large blooms, and plenty of them. We've had, as usual, quite a dry early summer here in Norfolk, and that's been followed in early July by quite a bit of rain, so I think these have benefited from that. Recognise that one, Bishop of Llandaff. A lovely display going back out towards the old orchard. These are absolutely stunning, and so
this one, it's absolutely
lush and
beautiful.
green.
Corally coloured one.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
It's the most beautiful one.
Lovely colour, deep pink in the centre with coral orange fading to a very pale pink on the outside as it matures. And then this cactus orange, incredible colour blast from that. Beautiful deep red foliage. Don't know what that one is. None of these are labelled, unfortunately, so I can't fill you in on the varieties. Wow, the size of this one. I'll just put my hand in the shot to give you some impression of the scale. It's a good 6 to 8 inches across some of these blooms. Absolutely massive.
Incredible, aren't they?
Absolutely beautiful, that one. Greenhouses survived during the period when this was abandoned and have been restored now fully about 2 years ago. Looking magnificent this afternoon in the dappled sunlight. Very little growing in them. I think they're used to propagate some seedlings and overwinter stuff. More dahlias going right the way into the corner. This beautiful mature pear tree. I'm going to go and have a little nose through the door here into the old potting sheds. Obviously not fully restored, just used for showroom. This old door exits the walled garden going back towards the parkland. Beautiful curve round on the wall. And then we've got some, I think, apricot or peach trees that have been planted, relatively new trees on the back there. And we'll make our way round into this planting in a minute because there's some beautiful agapanthus in this border, which is the south-facing border on the back of the walled garden behind the greenhouses. I think these are young peach trees on the back wall. There's no fruit on them this year. I think they've been apricots that they've picked earlier on. But look at these lovely pale blue agapanthus growing in this bed. Lovely display there, some crocosmia coming in the back, and a more mature, taller peach on the back wall. You're not allowed access to the greenhouses here at Blickling, staff only, but you can see they've been drying off bulbs in these fruit cages. Nobody's been picking this fruit. Don't think they've had the volunteer gardeners in. Red currants on the back again going unpicked, and gooseberries. These would normally be immaculate, and obviously with the lack of volunteer staff they've just had to muddle through this year. Look at this crop of black currants. They could really do with opening this as a pick your own for visitors for the next couple of weeks if they're not going to harvest them themselves. Strawberry beds do look as if these fruit have been picked, if not the birds have had them. Again, needing a good weed this year, and the raspberries behind them. This archway with its underplanting of catmints, almost over now. Fruit trees have been established along these for about 2 to 3 years now and starting to crop. I think that's lovage growing there, that herb that's running to seed. If they don't cut the seed heads off that, it's going to seed absolutely everywhere next year. I've had that happen in our garden before. This is a little area that they use as a cutting garden. Again, showing a little bit of lack of the volunteer gardening team to keep these borders clear, and a lack of cutting, to be fair. This, I think, was a potato border. They've managed to lift those, just a few that have been missed along the top, but they're looking in good nick. And then the cutting border along the back wall again, looking lovely. And this fruit, lovely cooking apple, growing away nicely on this trellis, with the agapanthus and acanthus doing very well in this border. Nicely enjoying the late summer sun. Oh, looking very nice.
And these are the late summer borders, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Look at the bees on here. Lovely.